So in this video, we're going to talk about our take on reselling. Everybody's trying to make money right now. Why do we resell in retirement? Where do you buy things to resell? How do you plan to make more money on eBay?
It's the time. It just eats up so much time.
You're basically exchanging time for money. Do you want to quit eBay?
So you're in a hurry. Well, you better calm down.
Mark and I have been reselling on eBay for 20 years. And can you believe it's also our 20-year anniversary?
It is?
Yes, it is this month. It is, trust me. And in this video, we are going to share our take, not my take, not Mark's take, but our take on reselling, predominantly on eBay. And we're going to answer a whole lot of questions. Did you know that we're going to answer a whole lot of questions?
I had no idea.
Well, you do now.
Oh boy.
Yes. Questions on how we run our eBay business, how we do things, good, bad, and different, and give our thoughts. Are you ready for this, friends? We're going to give our thoughts
On reselling going forward.
Yes, because as you saw in the thumbnail and the title, this video is about reselling in retirement, whatever that may look like. We're still trying to figure that out.
For those of you who don't know, I'm a retired high school teacher from Northeast Ohio. I taught biology and life science for 30 years, and for the last 22 of those, I taught a program called Marine Biology to groups of junior and senior students. That the culmination of that course was a trip to a marine biology field station on Andros Island in the Bahamas. I actually started teaching at the age of 20 as a result of getting my bachelor's degree in 3 years, and I was able to retire as a result of that at the age of 50, and I've been retired now for 21 years. If I had unlimited time and money, I'd love to travel, boat, fish, and explore nature, work less, and relax a little more.
That made me laugh. And for those of you who do not know, I have worked two jobs since I was 19 years old. One for making a living, and the other for having extra money for the things that I like to do. I've had numerous job titles over the years, from loan processor to mortgage broker, sales and marketing coordinator, and on the side, party plan sales. I've made crafts and sold them at craft shows, and I've even been a server at restaurants. I left my secure job at age 40. I know that was quite young, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I needed to make a change. I needed to follow my dreams. For a while, I sold promotional products, and then I had a beverage catering service, which I got Mark involved in too when I met him, and even followed my dream of being an interior designer. As I said, I followed my dreams. If I had all the time and money in the world, what would I do? I love to paint, not walls, but on canvas, make jewelry, and make YouTube videos because I really enjoy the challenge and creativity in making videos. I guess you could say that I'm a creative, and I have far too many ideas and far too little time. A few years after getting married and after watching far too many
HGTV shows.
Yeah, I got the bug that I wanted to start an interior design business. And I did. I did start a business. And then eventually we had a store. And then eventually we had 2 stores. And everything was going pretty good until the crash of 2008. But what did they call that? The Great Recession.
Great Recession.
It wasn't very great for us or for a lot of people. And we lost our businesses. 2 stores, as I said. And Mark ran
I ran the home improvement business associated with the stores, and that died also.
Yeah, everything dried up. So we had to reinvent ourselves. And that's when we started making jewelry. It's a long story, so I'll keep it very short. I was making beaded jewelry, gems and crystals, and Mark was making...
I started making chainmail jewelry, linking little jump rings together, which I actually made the jump rings.
And we did very well with it. And we traveled and did National Street World shows and car shows and all that good stuff and local craft shows. And we did that for about 10 years, didn't we? Quite a long time. Until the day came when we moved to Tennessee and we'd gone back to a show in Ohio and decided No, we're not going to keep doing shows anymore. Just decided not to do it. It's a lot of work.
That was when we saw the elderly couple trying to tear down their booth, and he could barely walk, and she was in a wheelchair, and bickering and fighting to try
Yeah.
to get things back in their trailer. And we decided this is it.
Yeah, this is it. So I'd started selling on eBay in 2004, took some time off while we had the retail stores. And yes, we started making jewelry, but it still wasn't enough. So I decided to go back to selling on eBay. And eventually Mark started selling on eBay too. I focused on crafts and knickknacks and little things like that. And Mark got into
Media, books, tapes, records, all that kind of stuff.
But when we moved to Tennessee, 7 years ago now,
7 years.
we were supposed to retire. But that didn't really happen for very long. Sure, we took a break from selling on eBay because we remodeled the house. However, there's just never enough money. So in this video, we're going to talk about that, reselling in retirement, what it does for us, some of the pros and cons, and share a few tips along the way because, we're not getting any younger. And I'd say we're probably in the last, isn't this ironic? Been on eBay 20 years, been married 20 years, and if we're lucky, we have 20 years left together, if we're lucky. So we thought we would share with you where we are, and hopefully we share something with you that gives you some insight or thoughts along the way. I know this was a long intro, but stay with us here because we have lots of questions to answer.
My favorite saying is, I retired once, but now I'm just tired.
Oh, I get tired sometimes too. But don't worry, this video is not a downer. It's just an informational video to help those of you, no matter what age. That's a good point, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. It doesn't matter how old you are. Anyone can resell. Anyone. But sometimes you look at it a little bit differently as you get older.
And things have changed over the years too.
It has? Things have?
With eBay.
Oh, yeah, with eBay.
Why do we resell in retirement?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? Why do we resell in retirement? How come we're just not retired? It's pretty simple why we resell in retirement. Boy, that's a tongue twister. For the money. For the money. It's extra money to cover those unexpected expenses. We have some savings, but we don't want to dip into that savings. It was hard to accumulate what we have. And reselling brings in extra money and covers things like that recent $1,000 car repair bill that we had. And we're not trying to live off of reselling. We're not.
Now, I have a pension from my retirement system, but
Thank goodness.
that covers all the bills and gets us month to month. The extras like the car repairs and
Dr. Bill co-pays.
medical expenses. There's things that we'd have to be dipping into our savings to be able to cover. So reselling helps to do that.
Yeah, it most certainly does. Not to mention all the benefits of all the write-offs that we get to take. But yeah, I would say the reason we resell, besides the fact that I really enjoy it, I can only speak for myself on that I really enjoy it. Do you really enjoy it? Or is that a loaded question? Should I ask that on camera?
That's a loaded question.
All right, we'll talk about that later in the video. But anyway, we resell for one purpose primarily, and that is for the money. Can never have too much money. Oh, and I guess I should share here that I do have Social Security. I took it early. I took it at age 62. Because we're reselling, most months I can bank my entire Social Security check. So that adds up pretty quick, and it's really nice to be able to do that. And my biggest concern, Mark, is for those of you who are trying to leave your jobs and jump into eBay full time. I'm sorry, but reselling in retirement when you have other income is quite different from trying to live off of reselling. There are those who do. There are. But if I hadn't worked for the first 40 years of my life, well, I didn't work for 40 years, but if I hadn't worked till age 40, I would not have any Social Security built up. I wouldn't have that money that I can put aside and then use the eBay money on top of that. And we're very thankful for Mark's retirement income, which a lot of people don't have anymore. Yeah, they don't. But let's move on to the next question. You know, hon, the first thing that people ask when they're starting out reselling, and I know a lot of you are seasoned sellers, but one question that I hear all the time is, where do you buy things to resell? Where do you get your stuff? Of course, you can start with things around your house, but...
And we have a lot of things around the house.
Shh. These are listed. Give me a break.
But there's a lot more on the other side of that wall.
Oh, is this how it's going to go in the video? Where do you like to find things to resell?
Our favorite place is church rummage sales.
Number one, church rummage sales.
That's where we've been doing the best. Also garage sales, especially when you've got a neighborhood sale where there's a whole bunch of houses in the neighborhood that you can go one to another without driving too far. The restore has been good for us. In fact, we have 2 restores here near us, one in Kingsport and one down in Johnson City. After that, the thrift stores have been tough lately.
Yeah, they really have been.
They've priced things up for what crappy stuff that they have.
It's low value junk and more junk. And it's rare now that we find something at Goodwill or other thrift stores. I mean, we got a couple of things we found this year, but not much. So if you can go to church rummage sales, and I know a lot of times they start on weekdays, but if you're in retirement, reselling in retirement, you can do that.
And your favorite saying is, get it before it gets to Goodwill.
Yeah, get the goods before it gets to Goodwill. You're right. All right, I think you covered that one pretty good. Let's go on to the next question.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
The next question is, what do we buy to resell?
What do we buy to resell? Oh my gosh, just about anything that we can make profit on. How's that for an answer? Although I can think of some things that we don't like to buy, like, electronics and things that need tested.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do specialize in electronics, but we've done a few of those with limited success. Hard goods, like you see here, decor is probably the biggest
thing. Home decor. That's the direction I keep going this year. Home decor. It's usable because it's decor, and it's something that people are willing to spend a little more on.
But really,
that didn't sound right. Moron. That they're willing to spend a little more.
Morons?
Yeah, it didn't come out right.
I think it did. When we're shopping, well, any of the above, we like to look for new sealed items, and
sure,
especially if it has a good sell-through rate. We'll go to eBay sold comps and see what the sell-through rate is on it, and if it's good, then it really doesn't matter what the item is. We'll go for it, and those have been pretty good for us in the past.
We try to avoid things that might be oversized, over 12 by 12 by 12, or anything that would require an upcharge. We're not into golf clubs and things like that, although I know you can ship them in other ways other than USPS. But yeah,
that's a big question we ask as we're hunting and buying.
Yes.
How big is this thing?
How hard is it going to be to pack?
What's it going to cost to ship? Yeah.
And we'll cover that later in the video too, a little bit. But basically, what we buy to resell? We buy from what we find and what's still there, what the other resellers missed or left behind. Those are the things that maybe we've never even seen before, that we take the time. Wouldn't you say we take the time to do a photo and run it through Google Lens, take one of the comps that we find and put the title into eBay and sort it by sold and sort it by highest to lowest. We look at sell-through rate, how many are active, how many are sold. We do a lot of research nowadays before we buy, do we not?
Oh, yeah. And once in a while, we'll get lucky at somewhere like Goodwill, where they pull the good stuff and put it on their own website for sale. But every once in a while, they'll miss something.
They miss something. They don't know everything. They don't.
We wind up getting lucky and finding it.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that we just see value in things that other resellers just miss, because a lot of resellers get locked into certain things that they want to buy, certain categories, right? like they're into media, or they're into electronics, or they're into sports.
Or clothing.
Or clothing.
Oh my
gosh. Everybody's into clothing. At some point, clothing is going to be so saturated on eBay that no matter what brand you find, it's going to be a price war, right? Price reduction to the bottom. And as you see, we sell a variety of glassware, but this isn't everything we sell. You're not seeing all the way around the room. But if you watch our channel long enough, you know we sell quite a variety of things.
And we also sell clothing.
Yeah, some. Yeah.
But
it's really about what can we make a profit on? That's what it's all about. That's what we're willing to sell. If we can make profit and it's easy to ship and doesn't take up too much room to store, we buy it.
too much room?
On a good sell-through rate. Too much room. We're running out of room. Do you ever regret anything and why did I buy this?
Do you have all of your inventory listed?
Do name brands matter?
How important are titles in your listings?
Do you, my dear, ever regret buying something to resell? Since you're the one that washes everything before you photograph it and I list it?
Most often the regrets come from not seeing damage or issues with the product when we're buying it. Either the lighting was poor or the item was so dirty that it was hiding the damage, but we checked it out and it seemed like a good idea at the time, but when you go and try to sell damaged goods, they don't always go. Now we have
we've sold a lot of things that are damaged.
Things that were damaged, but you have to do a price cut on them right off the bat. You can't get full retail out of them.
But we have sold a lot of items that have been shipped or something, but we disclose everything. You put it in the photographs. But sometimes it's not until you get it under the lights to photograph it that some of these things show up.
And another thing, we kind of learned this the hard way a few years back. You buy something that has a battery compartment.
Oh, battery compartments, yeah.
Open it before you buy it.
Absolutely.
Have a little screwdriver or a knife or something to open those screws or pop that battery compartment and make sure that the batteries haven't burst or that somebody has taken burst batteries out of it and the contacts are all fouled up.
It can be cleaned up, but it takes a lot of
cleaned.
Takes time.
But there again, it kind of depends on what's the value of this. Is it worth doing that? So.
And sometimes you can clean it up and it still doesn't work. I guess with clothing, of course, it's any holes or stains or missing buttons. That's very annoying to me because I try to check all those things before I buy something. Oh, I know. Sometimes I get a little excited at the sale and I buy things without checking comps. And then we get home and after the excitement of buying it wears off, then it's like, is this thing really worth listing? And why did I buy this? Yes, I still buy some things that I regret buying.
But they're cute.
They're cute. I suffer from acute syndrome. If I say the word cute, I'm in trouble. And then when Mark has it lined up here to photograph, he'll kind of look at me and say, I really don't feel like photographing this. And
is it really worth my time to try to photograph? Can we get enough out of it to make it worth? There's other things sitting here that are more worth my time to process and get listed.
So there are times, more than once, I'll say for sure, more than once, that we will cut our loss and we have a box over here on the floor to donate things back to the thrift store and let them decide what they want to do with it. Yeah. So do we ever buy something we regret buying? Absolutely. I don't want to hear the next question.
Do you have all of your inventory listed?
Of course we do.
Of course we don't.
Can I turn around on this one?
You better.
Can I run and hide on this one? I'm guilty. Well, maybe I could blame you because you don't have it photographed yet, so I can't list it if you don't photograph it. It does work both ways, you know.
Well, some people have death piles.
They're money piles.
But we have death boxes.
Well, not a huge amount.
We've got boxes sitting upstairs that we bought last October.
I bet we could fit.
We probably forget what's in those boxes.
Yeah. Yes. When it's the season, like it is now, garage sale season, we get backed up a little bit. And so, yes, we have inventory that's not listed. And yes, we have some inventory in our shipping room that's not listed. A couple of boxes, banker boxes. And yes, I have some shoes that aren't listed. Don't look. And then I have jewelry that's not listed. And then I have sewing and quilting and craft patterns that aren't listed. Stop looking. You know what? I think all of us could say sometimes that we get a little bit excited when we go to a sale and we buy up things, and then before you know it, the week has gone by and there's another sale to go to and another sale to go to. So it happens to most of us. There are a few out there that claim they have no death piles, and I believe them. We have a couple profit piles. Profit piles.
Some of us are thriftaholics.
Are you calling me a thriftaholic? Are you? Oh my gosh. He's embarrassing me here on video. I don't think I am, because how many sales did I go to? How many sales do I go to now that I walk out with nothing?
You're better now than you used to be. Yes.
I'm much pickier now about what I buy. I'm not a thriftaholic for the fact of buying. I don't think I am, but I am a thriftaholic for wanting to go to thrift stores and sales. I definitely want to go, but I don't always buy something. Come on, set him straight here.
Not always.
He's making me look bad.
I was trying, but no, she's a lot better now than a couple of years ago. Yeah, the Yukon would come home chock full. So
it did?
It did.
Okay, well, I don't buy like that anymore. I'm very particular these days. Although I still suffer from acute syndrome. Do name brands matter when you're buying things to resell? Do name brands matter?
Yes, name brands do matter. Most of the things that we sell have some kind of name brand associated with them. However, there are some things that don't have a brand name on them.
Some vintage items mainly.
Especially vintage, that are difficult to put a name to. And some things, eventually, with enough research, you can tie a name to them, but not always.
I would say some things that come to mind are wood items, like a wood nut bowl or a wood utensil holder or cup holder. You know, things like that don't have a name brand on them, but they sell.
And ceramics and glass and pottery. There's a lot of things that don't have a brand name on them that will sell anyway.
It does, but it sure helps to figure out the name brand with research, you know.
But it has to be something, I wouldn't say unique, but more special, something, a color, a shape, or something that is very attractive.
A lot of the things that we buy take a lot of research. From the glassware that's unmarked most of the time, although we love it when it's marked. Marked, we love it because that makes it so much easier. So anytime you can find a brand or a signature, you better take a second look at it and research it, because it could have some value. Even if you've never heard of it before, it could have value.
Especially in some of the art glass type of glass, some of the big heavy stuff. Look for an etched or laser engraved name or signature on it somewhere. That always helps the identification and usually increases the value.
And I will say that when it comes to clothing, absolutely name brand matters. And
just because it has a name on
brand
it doesn't make it a name brand.
No, it
something
doesn't.
That's desirable.
Because I just decided to pull size small, medium, and large in clothing that we've had in our store for several years, that I've tried at every price possible and it wouldn't sell. And just today, we took a humongous box. How much do you think it weighed?
Probably 40 to 50 pounds.
40 to 50 pound box to our local church for their clothes closet, to a local church in downtown Kingsport. So yeah, they all had name brands, but they weren't selling. Could be because of the size, the style, who knows, but it's out of here.
Now we have empty totes that we can refill.
Yeah, let's go thrifting. Do you have a question for me?
I have a question, Mark.
Okay, Mark, do you have a question for me, Mark?
Yeah. How important are titles in your listings?
How important are titles? What do you think? I know I'm supposed to answer it, but what do you think?
Well, is it Mr. or Mrs. or Sir?
No. We're not talking about
King?
those kind
Queen?
of titles. No.
No.
Okay, I'll take the question.
I
Thank
think
you.
you better.
Thank you. Since Mark does the cleaning and the photography, and I do the listing, so I'm writing the titles.
That's
and
why I don't do the titles
doing
and do the
all
listings.
of that stuff. Titles are very important, and I think it's important to have the brand name up front, then have all the pertinent information that describes the item. I know I'm being kind of vague here, but I'll tell you what isn't important. How's that? And, something and, or, oh my gosh, now I can't even
You're
think
stuttering.
about.
I don't know what you're saying.
Blah, blah. If the word doesn't contribute to the description, leave it out. It doesn't have to read like a sentence. It doesn't have to be a pretty title. It just has to have the basics. Like,
It's a string of words that has the important stuff in it.
here. So what do I have? I have a handmade redware pottery, has a handle, has drip glaze.
We actually did find out what pottery this came from.
Yeah,
So
I can't remember which one it is right
It was
now.
somewhere in North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
So that would go at the beginning of the...
Yeah, you can want to put the material, the color, the style, if it has a handle, if it's footed. There's so many things that you can put in the title if it's contributing to describing the item.
If it's dated, if it has a date on it that you can identify, that gives an indication of its age.
So what was I saying? Yes, titles are very important, but only put in there the keywords that are pertinent and leave out. I don't know, I see commas in titles. I'm like, why are you putting commas in here and wasting a space? I do try to use up all 80 characters and put the brand name at the front. And if it's a clothing, put the men or women's and the size near the front, because when they're reading the title, a lot of times part of it's cut off. So the first 5 words, that's really what I'm trying to get to. The first 5 words or so are the most important. That's what I'll say on titles. What's your title?
Mr. Mark.
And I'm Miss Vicky.
Or Wiki. Miss
Or
Wiki.
Miss Wiki. But everybody down here calls me Miss Vicky. And I'm like, I'm not Tiny Tim's wife.
Tiptoe through the doors,
Oh,
Vicky.
cut. We're going to fight over this question. But if you were filling out the condition notes.
Cracked.
No.
We've got 24 photographs. Do you list it as...
That's easy to answer. And a lot of times the buyers don't pay.
Is mine or yours? Are we going to fight over this question?
We're going to fight over this question. I don't know how much Mark can answer on this one. How important are item specifics in the description?
And be specific
In the
with your
listing.
answer.
Yes, I can't even say specifics. How important are item specifics? Well, they're important. You have to have the brand, and you want to do the type and the color and maybe the shape or dimensions or material is if it's signed. But after that, no, I do not fill in all the item specifics. And sometimes when we do sell one like this, they have everything filled out, even NA, not applicable, NA. Why? Why? You don't have to fill out all of that stuff. In the search engine, the title and then the description and the main item specifics are what's most important. And I'm just going to leave it at that. No, I do not fill out every item specific that they list. No thanks.
Okay, so what about the item Atlantics?
I don't understand.
If you got the item Pacifics, there's got to be
I
an
said
item Atlantics.
specifics. I'm having trouble saying it.
Okay.
Help me. Can you answer this, Mr. Mark? What do you put in the condition notes? I know I fill them out, but if you were filling out the condition notes, what kind of things would you put in there? What do you think is important?
Old, dirty, cracked.
No. I mean, you can check used or new or used, but you're not going to tell them, hey, this is old and dirty and crap. You are the one that does the photography. So what kind of things do you point out when you do the photography that you think a buyer should know?
Well, again, like I said earlier, on getting something home and finding that it has a crack or a chip, or sometimes there's spots or maybe just errors in the processing. Maybe there's a bump where there shouldn't be one. Maybe there's a
Manufacturer imperfection is how I say it.
That's the word I'm looking for, manufacturer imperfections. I will usually take, I've got little sticky arrows, and I can put a little sticky arrow toward those spots, and I'll photograph that
I'll get one.
specifically to include in the photographs. And we've got 24 photographs to put into the listing. I usually do at least 8 or 10, depending. Sometimes we have multiple items in a listing. There might be 3 or 4 of something.
These
and
things.
I'll photograph each one of them sometimes with different conditions on the different ones. So,
Well, they may not be the right color, but it's the best I could do. Anyway, he will use these things in our photography.
does that mean I have a defect?
No, you don't have a defect. You're perfect.
Oh.
Perfect. I can't find the other one here. I just want to add that when it comes to writing the description, along with the photos that point out any flaws or anything, the first 2 words that I use in my description box for used items is always in caps, read all. Read all. Because they don't get to see the whole description when they're looking at a listing. But if they see the words read all in all caps, hopefully they read the description. Can't promise it, but hopefully.
And somewhere in there you should put see photos.
Yes, I do. After I point out anything about the item, and sometimes I include in the condition notes the measurements. Even though he takes photos with the measurements in the photo, I still often will include the measurements in the condition notes. And then I say, see all photos. And sometimes I say, see all photos sold as is. And then, well, I'll tell you that in a little bit. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
Next question, please.
Do you list it as buy it now or as an auction?
That's easy to answer. Everything's buy it now. Rarely do I ever do an auction because, first of all,
Auctions tend to give things away.
yeah, and whoever's
You get one offer and boom, you got to sell it at 99 cents or whatever.
No, that's what I'm going to talk about. Never list things at 99 cents. Never list anything. What do you know, right?
I don't know anything.
Never list anything for less than what you'd want to accept for it because it can very well sell for that. Auctions are not what they used to be. They do not get bidded up, and a lot of times the buyers don't pay. So, no, I do buy it now. Buy it now. That's what we do. We set our price, and
Buy it now.
but they don't. And then work with offers here and there. So, yeah. Oh, a bird hit the window. Sorry about that. Distraction. Buy it now. Don't do 99-cent auctions. You're just going to lose money. I've showed you in some of my videos eBay sold comps where people just give their stuff away. They're leaving money on the table. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Why would you want to pack anything and ship it for selling it 99 cents minus fees? Fees on everything, right? Fees on everything.
And then for free shipping.
Yeah, you're in the hole. Don't do it. How we determine the listing price.
Price it up and see where it lies. Why do you?
Yes. Do you estimate the shipping cost? How often am I short postage? You run the labels. You wait on this. Mr. Mark,
Miss Vicky?
do you have any idea how we determine the listing price, what we started out at? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea at all.
Oh, you look up comps and do you sell one like this?
Exactly. We go to eBay solds and try to find something that's comparable that is sold in the last 90 days or so, based on the condition of our item versus what the comp we found. You can adjust your price accordingly. Sometimes go a little bit higher.
I was going to say.
That way you've got some bargaining room to maybe come down if somebody wants to make an offer.
I tend to price $5 to $10 higher and allow for offers. And then I also, if there's no competition for it, if I have something vintage, something a little more unique, I might price it up even more and just put any price I feel like putting on it if I can't find any comps.
Well, that's the thing. The things that don't have a comp, it can leave you kind of guessing, because does that mean that nobody buys these things, or is it that maybe you've got a rare item that really is worth some money? So there's a little bit of a gamble there. So
kind of let the buyer decide by any offers,
yep,
you know.
You price it up and see where it lies.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Why do you check the box for private listings when you're listing something?
Why do you
Yes.
check the box for private listings when you're listing an item?
What are you even talking about? What's a private listing? I have no
I
idea.
don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
A private listing. Whenever you're making a listing on eBay, there is a place down on the bottom on the left-hand side before you get to setting the shipping that you can check, and it's called private listing. What is that? What does that mean?
It means you don't want anybody to see it.
What it means is that when the buyer buys it, and they leave feedback, the feedback itself shows up, but what doesn't show up is what they purchased, what they bought. Now you might think, well, what does it matter? Why don't you want people who see your feedback, Miss Vicky? Why don't you want other buyers to see what that person purchased? Well, it does something else besides hide what the item is. It hides what they paid for it. Meaning, if you have the offer feature on and you sell something on offer, not everybody gets to know when they look at your feedback that you frequently sell things on offer, which I think can potentially result in more full price sales. Because if they're checking feedback and they don't see all these discounted sales, all these offers, they're not even going to know unless they pay attention to the listing and I have offer on it. I just feel like if I came to somebody's feedback and I saw offer in their feedback, well, most certainly guaranteed, I'm going to remember to make an offer or send a message and ask if they'll take less. So by not having what they paid for it showing up in the feedback, I don't know, I just feel like we have a lot more high price sales, full price sales. Yeah. So I check private listing. From what I recall, you cannot do that in bulk edit, but I've always just done it in each individual listing. So that's a private listing.
Okay.
Now, when I show you my feedback on screen, you get to see what they bought because I'm seeing it on my end. I always see it on my end. What they paid in the description of what they bought. If I'm looking at it and I'm doing a screen recording for you, you will see it. But if you just came into our store on your own, you would not see what they bought or how much they paid. You'd only see the feedback that they left. I hope that explains it.
Okay, I do too.
All right, Mr. Mark. How do you estimate the shipping cost? Do you get involved in the shipping cost at all?
I do not.
No, he does not. He runs the shipping labels, but he does not get involved in weighing the item. All right, so someone asked me recently, I get this question all the time. How do you know you're not going to be short? Okay, you see my pack and ship videos and you see all the packing material that I'm using, and some people think it weighs a whole lot and they think I must be losing money. And how do I possibly know what to estimate for shipping so that I'm not short? I think that's the crux of it. I weigh everything when I'm listing. Every single thing that I'm listing gets weighed. Now, I might know those items that are under a pound, a hat, let's say, a cap or hat or a craft leaflet or something. I don't necessarily have to weigh that. If it's under a pound, most times I charge $6.95 shipping. I mean, jewelry might be $4.95, but that cuts it close these days. Sometimes cuts it real close if it's going to California. But most things under a pound, I just charge a flat $6.95. For clothing, for hard goods, it doesn't matter. I weigh it, and if it's over 8 ounces, and I know that as soon as I box it, because a lot of our items require boxing, it's going to be over a pound. Well, if it's over 8 ounces, and it takes more than an envelope, I just round it up to 1 pound. When it's on the scale, when I'm listing it, in my mind, I rounded it up to 1 pound, but it's not boxed yet. So what I do is I add another pound for the box, because even though it might be 1 pound, 6 ounces, when you're buying postage, they charge you at 2 pounds. If it's 2 pounds, 6 ounces, they're going to charge you for 3. So the actual weight might be one thing, but the actual charge is based upon the next pound rounded up. Did I say that well enough there? Rounded up.
The things that are under a pound, though,
$6.95.
But I'm saying for weight, if it weighs 8 ounces, they you print the label at 8 ounces.
That's true. That is true.
Anything under a pound is actual weight.
And we do put the actual weight when we run the label so that the actual weight matches up to the shipping label. But as far as estimating for the listing is if it's nearing a pound and I haven't boxed it yet, I list it with an estimate of 2 pounds. Sometimes if it's glassware or I know that it might need double boxing, I add 2 pounds. I have so many videos out there, and I have one that's called Priority Mail, Calculated Shipping, and I use the same formula for calculated shipping for priority versus ground advantage. It's the same way. I weigh it and I round it up and add a pound for the packing material, at least 1, sometimes 2, for items that need boxed. I'm not going to go any further into that today, but that gives you the crux of it. But everything gets weighed. And okay, so Mr. Mark, how often am I short postage? You run the labels, you weigh it on the scale, you run the labels. How often am I short?
Very, very rarely.
How rare?
I'm not even sure if it's once a year.
A thumbs up for that.
Giving her a thumbs up.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, you have to weigh things at time of listing. You have to. How else can you know? And as far as the packing materials, I use bubble wrap and air pillows because it weighs less than paper. And it also comes with experience. A lot of years doing this and sharing with you. You know, I have hundreds of pack and ship videos. It's not something that I just wing it. It's not something I guess at. I weigh it. Did I answer the question?
I think.
I hope. Most of it anyway. Watch my pack and ship videos. Do you allow for free returns?
Do you ship international?
How do you organize your inventory? You know what? I think we need to get up and stretch our legs and take the camera and show them a few things about our organization. Do you allow for returns? Do you allow for free returns?
No.
No returns allowed here.
Simple. No returns.
But what if I don't like it? What if you sent me the wrong thing?
Tough.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Does it?
What if it arrives broken?
Tough.
No, it doesn't work that way. Oh my gosh. Okay. We do have no returns on everything. Does that mean that I've never accepted a return? Well, rarely. You know, depending on what the buyer chooses, we can be forced to take a return. And so on a rare occasion I have, but it's very rare. And I had a request for a return, a month or so ago, and I just replied that
You said I don't like them.
didn't like them. There were some brass incense burners, and I said, I'm sorry, but this listing was listed as no returns, something like that. And they just kind of went away, and I didn't get any negative feedback, or we didn't get any negative feedback. Only if we have to, only if we've done something wrong, only if it's forced. And it's just something that we choose to not mess with. The day that eBay requires us or forces us to take returns might be the day that we quit eBay. Might be. We'll see.
It could be a factor in that decision.
We'll see.
Do you ship international?
I didn't for a long time, but I have eBay Global Shipping set up where they take care of everything. And we just had an international sale that we shipped today.
We shipped today one.
If it's not going to be a hassle for us, we'll do it. I don't like the fact that eBay is now forcing other countries on us that we may not want to ship to. That's something that's happening. We got a message on avante-avenue, that store. So I assume it's happening on all the stores. And I'm thinking, well, there's a couple of things eBay has to consider. And one is, does that country allow for the item that we have listed? Do they have all the protections in place that we don't accidentally ship something to a country that is prohibited and then we lose out? That could happen, So we do have some countries that we exclude, and it seems to me that eBay's trying to force all the countries on us that they think we should ship to. But I don't know. Global shipping, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But the answer to that, the short answer is yes, we do through global shipping, but not direct. How do you organize your inventory?
Organize?
Is it organized?
Boxes on shelves?
All right.
Under tables?
You know what? I think we need to get up and stretch our legs and take the camera and show them a few things about our organization. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go stretch our legs and take a walk. So in our eBay room, you can see I have glassware, a lot of coffee cups, some white glassware at the top, and bowls, and lots of coffee cups, which we don't pick up as often anymore, and glassware. Oh, and these are things that he just photographed that I need to list. So a lot of glassware, and then it gets to heavier dishes as we go to the bottom. So that's one area of organization. Turn around here. And then this area is predominantly clear glass. It might have a little bit of white glass only because it was too tall for this shelf. But we have a lot of clear glass on here, or glasses that were just too tall and I couldn't fit them over here, or it was full. Now, over to this area. And by the way, Mark installed all this shelving, and he installed it quite well to make sure that it's not going to fall off the wall. We invested quite a bit of money in doing this, but it's been very nice. So over here is what I consider a lot of pottery and ceramics. And it's pretty much organized, other than the tall items, it's pretty much organized by color, but I think you can see that. Okay, shoes are over here. And we have some shoes in the garage as well. Jewelry is in these organizers here. It's not all listed. All of that is listed, but not all of this yet. The filing cabinet holds pattern leaflets, 2 drawer. So I have leaflets in both of them. Needlecraft leaflets, you know, crochet, knitting, plastic canvas, etc. Cross stitch. This area, well, the top shelf is a variety of things because they're tall. And then I have a lot of Christmas here. And then below I have a bookcase with a lot of my padded envelopes and small boxes. Of course, we have our air pillow machine here. I keep it covered, but we have our air pillow machine and a tote to catch the air pillows. We have several bookcases over here. We try to keep the brass together. I have these little every plate boxes. So a lot of smalls go in here. And then, you know, tall things on top. This is what I call my mini section, mainly because it starts out with miniatures and then it has a lot of little figurines and animal figurines here. And then just a variety of items here, a section for taller items. And we use the custom label SKU to make notes as to where we have things stored. These short bookcases work out great for holding plates, and then I have these little organizers, you know, these little stands that I have plates on. So yes, I have quite a few plates here. I call this the candle corner because I have a lot of candle holders here, but it also holds some tall items and lampshades and just a variety of things. But I know where it is because I have it on my custom label SKU. And then this bookcase has tall items on top, and then some ephemera and paper goods and things, and tall items, and some more tall items here.
Going out.
Yep, let's go into the garage. My light came on. Okay. And then in the garage, I have plastic totes for clothing. I even have a little QR code that I have tied to my phone. But clothing is in totes. I have boxes here, the big boxes, my padded envelopes, priority mail boxes, and then a variety of my eBay boxes. I keep the box for storage and I pull out a few in front. So I have tons of boxes lined up here. Then let's move down the aisle here. I have more banker boxes with QR codes. And this is kind of like what I think of odds and ends and metal items and just really odds and ends type things that we keep here. It's hard to explain it. I don't want to get into too much detail right now. And then all my Christmas ornaments, single Christmas ornaments, are in totes and they're numbered. Everything's numbered. I have napkin rings. I have seasonal and holiday. And then let's move on around to the other side. More totes here for storage, you know, labeled. My trash can full of pool noodles that I use for shipping. And then we have another aisle here that has kitchen stuff. A lot of well, this doesn't belong here, but it's tall, but we have a lot of kitchen stuff. But again, I use the custom SKU to make notes. And then all of these boxes from here to here, love banker boxes, all of these are full of Christmas. Some seasonal, but pretty much all Christmas. So yes, we do a lot in Christmas. Let's back up some more. We have a toy section here, and then we have some plates and some odds and ends, you know, some home interior, but mostly plates and dishes and some boxes and things of coffee cups and stuff. And then we have some sewing items here that are listed, and Christmas village houses. So we make use of every bit of space that we can. How do I pack, Mark? I can answer that in 2 words. Have breakage. That's a sad thing. You know.
What's a packing slip? What's it called?
That's the custom label
the custom
SKU.
label. And then I use the packing slip whenever I'm okay, Miss Vicky, how do you pack your sales for shipping?
Oh, I can answer that in 2 words. Very carefully. Very, very carefully. All right. Those of you who follow our channel, you already know that I have hundreds of pack and ship videos. And for those of you who are new here, well, I have hundreds of pack and ship videos under playlists on our YouTube channel here, Avante-Avenue. Check out the playlist for pack and ship. I've even broken them down, you know, a lot of times for glassware and odd shaped items in a variety of categories. So I would just say simply, very carefully. And we rarely have breakage. I mean, it's happened a couple of times in 3 or 4 years. Anytime it happens, it's a sad thing. And we make sure that we take care of our buyer. I pack it as if they're going to throw it like a football. There. No matter how much packing material it takes. And we do buy our packing material in bulk. We didn't show them in the garage. We have probably, 12 rolls of large 1/2-inch bubble wrap, several rolls of small. We buy in volume. Same with our boxes, 25 at a time of each size, so that we can keep the cost down. I would say that for large packages that require a lot of packing material, I might have $2 invested total. I know it seems crazy to some people because it looks like a lot, but I buy everything based upon price per square foot, price per box, and I really work to keep the prices down.
And doesn't eBay have some free shipping supplies, free boxes?
As you saw in the garage just now, a lot of our boxes are with our free, you pay a little bit. The coupon never covers everything, but we get a quarterly $50 coupon with our store. So yeah, a lot of the boxes are free. I think we pay for them with our monthly store fee, but hey, that's how I pack. How do I pack, Mark?
Very carefully.
Yep, I do. Do you include a packing slip for your buyer? You know,
what's a packing slip?
You know, the thing that we use as a pool ticket.
Oh, that thing that we don't put in the package.
Correct. We don't put it in the package.
No, but we do print a packing slip, and what it does, it helps us to find the item in all of that storage area there, because we usually have a little note in the what's it called?
That's the custom label
SKU. The custom
SKU.
label reminds us where we stored the thing. Now, the problem with that is when we reorganize the inventory and don't change the custom SKU.
Oh, yeah, that happens on occasion. We go on a hunt. Or sometimes from sales long ago, I didn't put down where I stored it. Yeah, if I wasn't here, Mark would have a really hard time finding this stuff to resell. But there are some things that we have to hunt on occasion, but as you saw with our organization that we just showed you, most of the things we find within, a minute.
And then I use the packing slip whenever I'm doing the shipping. I take notes on it as to what the actual size of the package is, how much it weighs, and I compare what we charged for shipping versus what the actual shipping cost was through Pirate Ship.
And we retain those, and after we take it to the post office and get our receipt for having them scanned, we stay put to the batch for that day, and we keep them. And why do we keep them? Well, if we have a buyer contact us about anything, and we can easily pull the packing slip and check how much it weighed. I don't know. We can check anything we need to. It's just a reference sheet. In fact, there's been a time when USPS said that we shipped something that should have been priority, but we only had first class on it. At the time, it was first class package. I was able to pull the slip that I get from the post office when they scanned our packages and prove to them that, oh no, this wasn't priority. This is the weight. This is the zip code. This is the, the tracking number. So it has come in handy to have that information available. And after we've done our taxes.
Yeah, our credit union has annual shreddings, free shreddings.
Mm-hmm. It's all said and done. We shred them, but it's very helpful, very helpful. We use a packing slip that we call a pull ticket. That's just what we refer to it as for our own use. But no, we do not include a packing slip. The buyer can print that out if they want one, like we do when we buy things online.
How do you handle customer messages, request to return?
How do you refresh your eBay listings? And do you ever take down eBay listings?
Do you cross-post to other platforms?
How do you file your taxes? A couple things I'm going to share with you that I've never shared before, and I think you're going to be surprised by this.
How do you handle customer messages, request to return?
That's like kind of a couple questions. How do I handle customer messages? Right away. I try not to make them wait. I respond as soon as I can respond, even if it's 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, which is when we seem to get them. I always respond promptly. And if they have a request to return, I address it. I just state, it depends on the reason. We have no returns, so I just either have to reiterate the no return policy, or if I've done something wrong, or if I think, well, maybe they were right. It wasn't in as good as condition as I maybe thought it was when I listed it, and I go to pull it and it wasn't as good. That's kind of with clothing sometimes. If I feel like I could have been better at listing the item, I'll just tell them to keep it or donate it, and I will refund. And I refund in full, and we just take the loss because, we don't have returns on a regular basis like most people do. And I've heard that they're getting more and more returns these days, especially for clothing. So that's how we handle it. Right away and take care of the customer. But when we need to, reinforce our policy of, sorry, there's no returns on this item. How do you refresh your eBay listings? And do you ever take down eBay listings?
That's a very easy answer. I don't. She does.
Yeah. If you haven't figured it out by now, Mark helps source, clean. He does the photography.
I'm the brawn.
And he does the taxes.
She's the brain.
Aw. Wait a minute. I'm strong too. Do you refresh your eBay listings? Yes, I do end and sell similar quite frequently to refresh the listings. And I took a very bold step yesterday and ended all of our listings. I mean, I left a couple up that were higher priced, just a few, but I basically took down over 2,700 listings, and I'm in the process of rebooting our store, looking at what we have on there and rechecking eBay sold comps and putting our best stuff out there first. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm kind of saddened today to see how few offers we're sending, but at the same time, we send a ton of offers that go nowhere. So yes, we take down listings, and as I said, I also took down several hundred listings of size small, medium, and large clothing and donated it today. So what's the word? Resounding?
Resounding, yes.
Resounding with the Z?
Something like that.
Yeah, yes.
Do you cross-post to other platforms?
Yes, we cross-post to other platforms, but not very often. We don't have a cross-listing service. I haven't found one that I like the price and or the fact of I want the listings to be automatically removed. I don't really want the extra cost. So I do it manually on occasion, so I'm pretty lax at it. But I try to cross-post heavier weight items of glass and pottery and wood and stuff on Poshmark. And then Mercari, well, you know how I feel about Mercari. I did that video about Mercari. And I did reactivate some of our listings. We've had no sales. I don't add anything to Mercari anymore. So eBay is our primary and could almost say our sole platform, but we have occasional sales on Poshmark.
Once in a while.
and I do it manually when I remember. Here's everybody's favorite question. How do you file your taxes?
Very carefully.
Oh yeah, very carefully, very detailed.
But I've been doing our taxes now for the last, I think 5 years. It's not real difficult, but I use a tax service called Free Tax USA.
Not sponsored.
No, but it's a very easy to use program. I print out the forms from the IRS and go through and get everything on paper before I go and try to the computer. And we file, this year we filed 3 different Schedule Cs for businesses.
Yeah,
So
I'll explain that in a second here.
it takes time, but it's not that difficult. The Free Tax USA does a good job at making sure you take all of the deductions and breaks that help you out.
I told you we went to the flea market with friends on Saturday. He was asking me questions like, well, how do you track your mileage and how do you track your expenses? And to put it simply, we have a little spiral notebook in each car. And if we know we're going out and could possibly stop at a thrift store or go to the post office or whatever,
We log the mileage.
starting mileage, we
when get
return.
home.
And then I don't have it here, but I carry a binder, a spiral binder that I carry with me when we go sourcing, and I write down the date and starting and ending mileage on that page and what we bought and what I spent and where we were. I don't need the exact address, but, basic information. So that's a couple of things we do. Then we use Pirate Ship, again, not sponsored, because Pirate Ship will give us a report at the end of the year for all the postage that we paid throughout the year. It's so simple. Type in the dates, print it out. We got all the postage for the whole year. I don't have to go through bank statements and things to do that. I manually do an Excel spreadsheet and enter all of our purchases and expenses. We have our check statements, of course, and we have the credit card, and I'm the one that goes through all of those things and works up a spreadsheet in Excel on expenses. Did I leave anything out? Basically, you're gathering up your expenses and your income, and eBay tells us our income, whether we think it's exact or not, or correct or not, right? They tell us how much we made, and we have to work with that. How they calculate versus when the deposits come in never seems to match up, but that's the way it is, the way December, January work out. A couple things I'm going to share with you that I've never shared before, and I think you're going to be surprised by this, but yeah, they're going to be surprised. Some of you wonder about reselling in retirement, what about if you're on Social Security? Like I'm on Social Security, so I can only make so much money a year, and then I think it's $18,000 a year or something, and then you have that situation where, well, maybe you have to pay something back or you have to stop taking it. It just so happens that many years ago when Mark and I sold the jewelry, Avante jewelry, and traveled, Mark filed the tax return for that. So when we moved here and started up on eBay again, I had my own individual business for eBay.
I didn't do the filing then, but we filed the business under my name.
Oh, we had somebody do it for us.
Yes.
Mark was the owner of the Avante jewelry. And in Ohio, I had eBay under my business name. When we moved here, I closed all of that out from Ohio, closed it out. And when we started eBay up again, Mark just automatically rolled over from Avante jewelry to avanteavenue. So actually, Mark owns our eBay store, avanteavenue. He does. Even though I know I'm the face of everything most of the time, and I do all the listing, I don't have to worry about the Social Security limit because Mark is a retired school teacher, and so it doesn't affect him, which happened to work out really good. And we didn't see that coming because
I didn't pay into, nor do I collect Social Security.
Yeah, and we didn't have that foresight when all this happened because I wasn't even taking Social Security yet, but it worked out great. So if you have a spouse that you work together in the business and one of you is on Social Security and one of you has retirement, well, I'm just saying, maybe you can set up the business under the person who has the retirement income, not Social Security. Now, with that said, my name is on Poshmark and my name is on Mercari and my name is also on all the YouTube accounts. So I'm responsible for reporting all of that income, not like it's a whole lot, right? I don't have to worry about it at this point. But that's how we have it set up. And that's information that I've never shared with you before. And not everybody can do this setup, but we didn't do it intentionally. It's just the way it worked out. And it's worked out pretty good, I think.
Yep.
How do you plan to make more money on eBay?
How many hours a day do you work, or how many days a week?
What do you like the most, and what do you like the least about reselling? How do you plan to make more money on eBay? Do you have any plans?
Sell more stuff.
I think that's everybody's plan.
We also have to be more picky about what we buy. That's back to that thing about checking the comps before we make the purchase. And sometimes it's a little difficult to do if you're in a
garage
sale with the owner right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can sneak one by, but easier to do that at a church rummage sale or at one of the thrift stores. Yeah, it's going to be just a matter of trying to buy better merchandise.
In our minds, we have a goal of only buying things that have a $30 value or up, but that's not easy to do.
It's getting harder.
Yeah, in my experience, I know that a lot of things that sell for less will sell. So when you're buying something for 25 cents and you can sell it for $15 to $20 or $25, it's hard to pass up on that. It's not a $30 sale, but it's really good profit. But we're always trying to raise the bar. And of course, we're trying to, as much as possible, check eBay sold comps, the sell-through rate of active versus sold. We keep trying, to do better.
The other thing that makes that difficult is actually where we live. Here in Northeast Tennessee, there's...
Love it here.
What?
I love it here, but go ahead.
We love it here, but the thrift stores and even the garage sales and churches, the quality of the merchandise that's here for us to pick from is not always that great.
It's getting worse.
Some of these eBayers that are doing great are living in big city suburbs where they have access to more and better product to resell.
Really big Goodwills and stuff, and we don't have that here. We have one here, one in Bristol, and they're pretty crappy, low value items. What I have seen is that this is just my belief, my take. I believe that most people are trying to make a little money out of their things before it gets donated. My take is they try to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. If they can't sell it there, they put it in their garage sale. If they can't sell it there, then maybe it gets donated. They just try everything possible to get a little bit of money out of it before they donate it. So Goodwills and thrift stores are getting really low value, crappy stuff. Then they go through any good stuff. Let's say somebody's doing a house clean out and they're not resellers. Goodwill will go through those kind of donations, or they go through all of it, and try to find the best stuff to sell on their own website. And they have every right to do that. It's getting harder to find good goods to make good profit on.
The other thing we're finding is that even the home garage seller, they're going and pricing their things at eBay prices.
eBay prices, yep.
They're trying to get
good point.
Top dollar out of things, and it immediately puts it out of our neighborhood because there's not enough meat on the bone for us to get any profit out of.
And
so
I saw it.
We have to walk away.
And I saw at recent garage sales where it was obvious that they were resellers. They had so many of the same thing, or they were buying pallets or closeouts, or I'm like, you can't buy from a reseller to resell. In fact, I meant to tell you that we went to the flea market Saturday with friends. We spent how many hours there?
6 hours.
6 hours. Guess how many things I bought? He tells me I'm addicted to, a thriftaholic. I bought one thing. A hat, a $1 hat, 6 hours, because the prices there at the flea market, you could tell that they're resellers like we're resellers. Of course they are, right? Of course they are.
I bought a new pair of sunglasses.
Yes, you did. And
an old beat up used hatchet.
You did. And I bought a pair of $3 earrings, like I need earrings when I make jewelry. But I don't know, I chatted with the lady and they were cute and I bought them.
Cute, there it is, a cute syndrome.
Oh, busted. But the point is, everybody's trying to make money right now. Everybody's always been trying to make money, and it's getting harder and harder. So we're being more and more selective and trying to raise the value of the items that we buy. That's what we're trying to do.
How many hours a day do you work, or how many days a week?
Are you asking me that?
Too many, yes.
Too many, far too many. We're supposed to be retired, right? Reselling in retirement.
Just hired.
I don't know how reselling is anything but a full-time job. I really don't. I don't know how. Some people say they pull it off a couple hours a day and manage a family, but of course I've added YouTube to it for several years now. I work typically from 9:30 in the morning till dinner time on something, reselling or YouTube related. I'm down here, right here at my computer all day, every day, unless I'm out sourcing. Maybe now it's the season, maybe on a Saturday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, take some time away. Sundays, what am I doing on Sundays? For the most part, I'm down here for a couple hours editing videos. So I put in far too much time.
So in some capacity, she's working every day of the week and many hours every day. She's probably got at least a 60-hour week, if not more.
I enjoy it. I do. I wouldn't do it. But if you're going to get into reselling in retirement, just know you're basically exchanging time for money. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of hard work to make that money.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't put as many hours in as she does, but I kind of help to keep the house going.
Yes.
I do laundry, I do the sweeping and cleaning, I do dishes. I sometimes, but she
I do
usually
most of
takes
the
care of the
cooking.
meals, or we'll eat out. Also, I take care of the yard work and any repairs and things that need done around the house. So
You work a lot too.
I work a lot too, but not always directly in eBay side.
Yeah.
And somewhere in between there, I find time to come down and sit down at my photo station and photograph things and create some drafts for her to list.
Yeah. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's a lot of work. It's not a game. You have to run it like a business, even if you don't want a full-fledged business. It's a business. Wouldn't you say? It's a business. It's not a hobby. It's a business. And so we're going to talk a little bit here what the future holds for us, what we're thinking. Let's move on to the next question. What do you like the most and what do you like the least about reselling? That's a loaded question.
Well, obviously, the most is money, the money that we make. The least is, as we were just speaking of, the time. It just eats up so much time.
I think what I like the least is the fact, besides how much time it takes, is how no matter how much you list, no matter how much you have listed, it's never enough. Over 2,700 items listed, it's never enough. They say you have to feed the beast every day. Feed the beast. You got to give eBay, algorithm, activity, listings. And you know what? It's like, how do you stop buying things when you got to constantly be feeding the beast, listing things to generate activity? It's just so frustrating to me. It's like, we have 2,700 items. Why isn't that enough? Why isn't that enough? That's what frustrates me the most, I think. And you can never really take a break. You can go time away for a little bit or take a break. When we took a break in September for my birthday and went away and I shut everything down for 4 days, it killed our store.
Took 2 weeks for it to come back.
It was horrible. And so when we go away for our anniversary soon, I'm going to do time away. I'm not going to close it. I'm going to do time away and hope for the best. What I like the most, of course, is I enjoy sourcing. I enjoy thrifting. I enjoy going out and finding things. I enjoy the country drives and going to neighborhoods we've never been to before. I mean, it's like a little day trip every time we just get in the car and go somewhere. I love that.
It's actually helped us to learn more about the area that we live in since we moved here. Get addresses for sales out of the newspaper or wherever and plug them into the GPS, and it takes us to new places we haven't been to.
And it's fun. It's fun. It's beautiful here. And so that part I really love. Even if we don't buy anything, I love just going out and trying, I guess. I love trying to find things. And so it's addictive. It is. I've been addicted to it for not 20 years straight through, but been 20 years since we started.
And what makes it more addictive is when you find that item that you pay
Cha-ching.
a couple bucks for and sell it for several hundred.
Yeah.
And that just grabs you and pulls you in.
It's highly addictive. My first sale was Julia Child's cookbook, volume 1 and 2, in the binder, $400. That was my first sale, and I was hooked. And it's just like almost like eBay feeds us enough sales, gives us enough sales to keep us hooked. We saw how successful we really could be on eBay. And it was fantastic. We were like blown away. And then every year since has been dropping and dropping and dropping. And this recently we've gone several days without sales. And I hate saying that. Now we haven't been listing
It's
as much as
depressing.
we should.
Yeah.
But when you don't have many sales, you do get kind of depressed and you don't feel like listing. So it's a vicious cycle. Reselling is very emotional, I would say. And, you have your highs when you sell and you have your lows when you don't. And it's a lot of work. Did I say it's a lot of work?
How long do you plan on reselling?
Oh, do you want to quit eBay?
We're kind of in a trap.
Okay, let's just be honest here. We're not going to live forever. So this question is something that we imagine all of you are thinking.
How long do you plan on reselling?
Oh, well, let me ask you a question, Mr. Mark.
Yes, Miss Vicky?
Do you want to quit eBay? Be honest.
I would love to be able to quit eBay and use that time for other things that we would like to do. We're kind of in a trap where we have to keep reselling so we can keep bringing in that extra money. Somehow squeeze in a little bit of time for the other things along the way.
We're trying our best this year to squeeze in more fun. And we told you we have adventures that we're planning to do. Well, we've had a lot of setbacks so far this year for each of us physically. We're trying. We haven't even gotten on those bicycles yet that you have ready, but we're trying. The reality is, whether we like finding things or going out for drives in the country or not, the reality is we can't really stop. We can't stop. There's no end to it. That's the big thing about eBay that nobody tells you, or reselling that nobody tells you. There's no end game. And those of you who are trying to get into this full time and try to retire from eBay, well, how are you building a retirement account? What are you going to live on? Because when you stop selling, the money stops too. And so I see no end to eBay, because if we stop, we have to withdraw from our savings account. And sometimes we still have to touch that a little bit. That's a tough question. How long do you plan to resell? I guess for me personally, I'll probably resell until my mind no longer connects with my hands on the keyboard. When I can't process doing a listing, knowing what I need to type and getting it typed, well, that's a serious sign that I need to stop reselling. I'm also worried about my eyes. My vision's getting worse and worse. Okay, let's just be honest here. We're not going to live forever. We're just not. One of us is going to go first. There's always that huge risk that we go at the same time in a car accident. It's just reality. We are preparing for that reality. In fact, we redid our will the other day, and we're lining up certain things. I have an internet executor to have access to all of my passwords and accounts. Mark can do it himself if he wants, but he'll probably need her help to take care of all these accounts that we've accumulated over the years. How long do we plan to resell? That's the question, right? And with that question, that question's coming up next, but bottom line, we're going to resell until we can't, which is health reasons, mental reasons, physical reasons. That's where I am. If something happens to me, I think Mark will stop immediately. I know that. He will. He'll stop immediately. If something happens to him, I probably would stop too.
Yeah, I'll be calling the estate sale company the next day.
Yeah, because this is something we do together. And even though my passion for it, I would say honestly, is greater than your passion, we do it, as we said in the opening, for the money. We are still exchanging our time for the money, even though we'd love to spend that time somewhere else. So I have one more question that I think you might find helpful. So this question is something that we imagine all of you are thinking, and that is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Mr. Mark and Miss Vicky, with all of your unsold inventory? What are you going to do with it all?
I think I alluded to it in the last question. We have an estate sale company that we've come to like as a result of going to estate sales that were run by them. Very, very professional, very efficient, and we just like the people and how they do their business. So we said we redid our will the other day, and in with our will is one of their business cards.
Yes.
So that if both of us go, and this is left to our executors to deal with, they can contact these people, providing they're still in business when we go.
That's for sure.
That's the idea. As I said, if Vicky happens to go first, I would definitely be giving them a call soon after, having them come and clear things out and get what they can for what we've got left.
Yeah, and at that point, we don't care how much we get for it, but we picked the best company. As he said, we went to enough sales. In fact, I did a video about estate sales. What are you going to do with all this stuff? And I'll try to link it I will link it at the end of this video, because, whether you're a collector or a reseller, somebody has to deal with this stuff someday. Somebody's going to have to. And since we're making the decision to resell as long as we can, physically, mentally resell, and I don't think the need is going to ever be questionable, we need to resell, then this stuff is going to be here and somebody has to manage it. And we don't want to put that on anyone and cause them a lot of stress.
We know our families want absolutely nothing to do with all this stuff.
And why would they? To them, they don't even understand reselling. So in addition to our will, I have typed up a very detailed, I think it's up to 4 or 5 pages now. And you might want to do this with your will as well. I hope you have a will. And we wrote it ourselves. We just found a copy of one and wrote it ourselves, took it to the credit union and had it notarized and witnessed. And I'm adding to it, I'm finishing it up this week, about 4 or 5 pages of detailed notes to make it easy. And I'm going to go a step above what I was originally going to say. I have all of our utility companies, our life insurance companies, our car insurance, our insurances, everything that anyone would have to find in case of an emergency or worse, it's all there. Contact numbers, account numbers, everything is there that they would need to walk in. If something happens to one of us, we can reference this and know exactly what bills need to be paid, et cetera, et cetera. And my internet executor has mentioned, there's just so much information in it, and I'm putting it with the will, along with the business card. I've even named the real estate company that I want to handle the house, the person that we bought the house from, we want to sell the house. So I've gone above and beyond to simplify. And then we're going to give our neighbor some contact information of who to call first and the second and third, etc., should something happen. When I say there's a risk of us leaving this world together, it means that there could be a car accident or something.
Because we go almost everywhere together.
Yeah.
Rare occasions we're separate, but
it's a hard thing for most people to address, but the fact is, we are in the last, I was being generous at 20 years, we're in the last 15 to 20 years of our lives. And we're stepping up to the plate and addressing that and making preparations for that. And that includes our reselling business. So reselling in retirement just means that you have less years to resell and more serious things to think about as you age. If you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you think you have all the time in the world. And I'm sure these are things that you probably don't think about. Do you have anything else you want to say, Mark? I know this has been a super long video, but let's wrap it up here with a couple of last thoughts.
My final thought is on reselling, that reselling can be a lot of fun. And as we've said, it's taken us new places and seen new things as a result of going out and sourcing. But it also can make you make extra money for you. But you have to keep in mind that it is a lot of work and takes a lot of time. So make sure if you're starting into this, that you go into it with your eyes wide open. And if you're in it right now and planning on it for the long haul, keep in mind some of the considerations that we've brought up.
I think we've covered just about everything. I know we talked a lot about the basics of reselling, but these are things that newbies want to know. You know, as I said, a lot of you are seasoned resellers and you followed our channel for a while, and thank you for that. And you know some of these things, but we had never taken the time, Mark and I, to sit down and share with you our open and honest thoughts about reselling and how we do things. I hope we answered all the questions. If not, leave a question and your comment with your comment.
I'm not doing another one of these videos. So
No, this was exhausting for us. And it's a long video. I don't know how long it's going to be by the time I'm done editing it. I still love it. I still love reselling. My challenge is that I just have so many things I want to do and so little time. We're really trying to get onto those adventures that we've been talking about for a while now and find that balance. If you're new to our channel and or new to reselling, I have lots of videos to help you, especially with packing, right? Especially with packing and things that we've bought to resell. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, well, thumbs up to you. Thumbs up to you. Thank you so much.
You deserve a reward.
You deserve a reward. And thank you, as always, for supporting our channel and supporting us. It means the world to us. We do enjoy making the videos, and it's something that I wish I had more time for. If I had my way, I'd probably just make videos about things instead of reselling. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Vicki.
And I'm Mark.
And we'll see you soon. Bye. Love you.
Enjoy the fruits of life.